Like if you found the video valuable. The rain fell in a steady rhythm against the windowpane, blurring the lights of the cafe across the street. Amelia pulled her scarf tighter around her shoulders as she flipped open the worn journal she had found in a dusty corner of a second-hand bookstore that afternoon. She loved collecting journals, not for writing, but for the traces of lives they sometimes carried. This one was different. Between pages filled with empty lines, there was a folded piece of paper, yellowed, delicate, but carefully preserved. She unfolded it slowly, her heart quickening as though she were intruding on something private. The handwriting was elegant, slanted, and hurried in places, as if written in a rush of emotion. If I could find the courage, I'd tell you. Every morning when I see you, it feels like the world slows down just enough for me to breathe. But I've never found the words, never dared to hope you might feel the same. If fate is kind, perhaps you'll know one day. J. Amelia's breath caught. The words were tender, aching with longing. She read them again, as though the ink might reveal more with each glance. Who was Jay? Who was this letter meant for? The shopkeeper, when asked, had simply shrugged. That journal's been on the shelf for years. Came from an estate sale, I think. No idea where it's from. That night, Amelia couldn't sleep. The letter stayed with her, echoing in her mind. Not just the words, but the feeling behind them. The kind of vulnerable honesty she had always longed for, but rarely encountered. Over the next weeks, Amelia found herself visiting the cafe across from the bookstore, carrying the journal with her. She told herself it was silly, but something about the letter felt unfinished, as though it were waiting for her to understand it. One rainy evening, much like the one when she had discovered the letter, she noticed a man sitting alone at the far corner of the cafe. He wasn't striking in the way novels described, but there was a quiet gentleness about him, the kind that drew her attention. He had a book open before him, but he wasn't reading. Instead, he was scribbling something into a notebook, his brow furrowed. When she glanced again, she froze. His handwriting, it was the same slanted, elegant script from the letter. Heart racing, Amelia stood, clutching the journal to her chest. She hesitated, then walked toward him. "Excuse me," she said softly. "Is this yours?" She placed the letter on the table. The man looked up, startled, his eyes flicking to the familiar page. For a moment, he said nothing, as though the world had stilled around them. Then, slowly, he nodded. "I never thought anyone would find that," he admitted, his voice low. "It was a letter I wrote years ago. For someone I could never tell." Amelia's heart twisted. "Why not?" He gave a half smile, wistful. "I was too afraid. I thought, maybe some words were safer left hidden." Amelia studied him for a moment, then smiled softly. Maybe they were just waiting for the right person to read them. Their eyes met, and something unspoken passed between them, a recognition, a spark, as though fate had finally arranged the timing. The rain outside softened into a drizzle, the cafe lights glowing warmly around them. For the first time in a long while, Amelia felt the world slow down, just enough for her to breathe. And in that stillness, she realized, some letters weren't meant to be lost. They were meant to be found.